Available on YouTube, jjsgarage.podbean.com, and Apple Podcasts.
The world's getting crazy, sit back and take it easy. My mind is getting hazy, I do it on the daily. Social distancing, thank you all for listening. Turn that frown upside down, I can't go to the playground. Stuck inside but I'm getting by, got to make the most of it. And the fear the end's not near, life's a roller coaster. So enjoy the ride.
Hello, and thanks for joining us. Welcome to JJ's Garage. Today we have another special social distancing episode. Connor joins me to talk NFL news, talk some Kim Jong-un news, and we eventually get around to reviewing two movies, National Treasure on Disney Plus and Evolution on Netflix. But first, my first guest is a young man from Kamloops. He's a rookie phenom for the Kamloops Rugby Club. He just moved to New Zealand to play rugby at a big Christchurch club. Coronavirus went worldwide and shook up his plans. If you're watching on YouTube, the picture-in-picture video is way out of sync. Still working out the bugs, but still wanted to include it to show my friend's smiling face. So without further ado, all the way from Christchurch, New Zealand, please welcome the Wonder Kid, Charlie.
Well, welcome to the show, buddy. Thanks for being on.
Thanks for having me.
So, full disclosure, if this seems not organic, it's because we did one of these, I don't know, an hour ago, 2 hours ago? And then I'm goofing around trying to match, because I've got you on a picture here that I'm recording. Nice.
Sorry, I don't know what happened there.
That's okay. That just adds to the that adds to how amateur hour the show is.
Oh, okay, all good.
So anyway, what was I saying? Oh yeah, so yeah, I don't know. Like I record the audio and the visual in two different things, and yeah, I was just goofing around with it and deleted it. So might sound a little stupid if I ask you the same question, so we'll try and keep her fresh.
All good. All good.
So what are you training today or what?
Yeah, just did some running today and trying to keep the cardio up. Got the ball in hand a little bit and worked on a few skills, but mostly just focused on running.
Nice. What do you got in the background there? Video game of some kind?
This is rugby. Rugby Challenge 3.
Oh, never heard of it.
Oh, yeah.
It's actually like a video game?
Yeah, it's just a regular video game. It's actually pretty fun.
Nice. You playing any other games?
Kind of not really, honestly. Play a little bit of Fortnite, but not that much. Yeah, not really. I watch lots of YouTube and just Netflix and everything.
Nice. I've been playing that new Call of Duty Warzone, if you ever heard of it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I have lots of friends that play that.
Yeah, man, it's all the rage. So, is it hard making new friends there? Because I'm sure you just everybody knows, join a rugby club, easiest way to make friends. And then, so you probably got a couple new good friends, and then, boom, shut down, can't visit them.
Yeah, well, if I'm going to be completely honest, it's actually been pretty difficult to make friends for some reason. We had lots of training together, and, like that, I've had few conversations with teammates or whatever, but I don't know. It seemed like they haven't really cared too much to just become friends with some skinny little pale Canadian kid that just came and shit on their party. But yeah, it's been a little bit difficult to make friends, I guess. But I guess that'll just come with time and hopefully getting more into the season and playing more. I can get closer with the boys and hopefully make some good friendships.
Well, it's tough to make friends when you can't see anybody, and then of course you go into war playing rugby, and you can't even do that.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. So tell me, when it all came down, was there a certain day that they said, "Hey, all right, man, it's you got an email saying the season's canceled," or did they say we're putting it off for a little bit?
they didn't say it was canceled. It's still to this day not canceled. It's just they're considering it to be postponed. I think it was pretty much like a month ago. The whole country went into stage 4 lockdown. So that was just like basically everything shut down other than essential services, and it's just go stay at home. Don't talk to anyone that's not in your bubble, they call it, which is like the people you're in lockdown with.
Right.
So yeah, just kind of no essential travel, no non-essential travel, no non-essential activity or anything. Just kind of do what you have to do and stay home. So yeah.
So what happens if you like get caught outside? Just
sorry, I don't know what happened there. I just tried moving my phone in.
It's all good. I was saying, what happens? Like you go outside, do they like the police beat you up with batons?
Nah. Police won't like attack anyone, but there have been lots of cases of people like getting pulled over by the police and them asking them why they're out driving, and some people have been like over Easter weekend there was like 400 some odd cases of people getting pulled over and getting like a ticket or something because they're driving somewhere to go see family, which they didn't want to happen. They wanted everyone staying at their own houses.
Yeah.
So yeah, there are lots of people like getting tickets and everything for traveling to and from places for no essential reason, I guess.
Right. So what if, obviously not essential, you go to the park and you put on your rugby cleats and start running around the field?
Yeah. There's been like lots of questions about it, but as long as I'm there with on my own or with someone in my bubble and not with other people, then it's considered to be fine. When you start like passing the rugby ball around with other random people that you don't know, then there's a problem. And there was actually just recently a little bit of an issue that came up with the Christchurch Crusaders. One player was out running, and then a few other of his teammates showed up at the same place, and next thing you know, they're tossing the rugby ball around, and people from the public saw that and took pictures of it, made a pretty big deal of it. So they all had to issue out apologies and all of this stuff. So yeah, that's kind of how serious lots of people are taking it, I guess, is
And of course, they're the big
professional apologize.
Yeah, they're the big rugby. They're the big like go-to people, good role models and stuff. That very public people that they shouldn't. So that's Crusaders. That's like Bowden Barrett and Jordy Barrett.
Yeah, Bowden Barrett and Jordy Barrett play on different teams, but Crusaders play against them. Yeah.
Oh yeah, right. Do they have? And they probably have like 5 or 6 All Blacks on their team or something.
The Crusaders, yeah, they have. What was it? George Bridge, Richie Mo'unga, David Havili, Scott Barrett, which is like, I think he's the forward Barrett.
Yeah, plays 6 for the All Blacks or something.
Yeah. So yeah, Scott Barrett, Sam Whitelock used to play for him, Dan Carter used to play for him, Israel Day used to play for him. So they've had so many top players go through that team. So yeah, and that was one of the first things that I did when I got here was I went and watched a Crusaders game. That's what I was looking forward to the most. Yeah,
that's actually what I was going to ask. Cause that would be kind of like going to a Canucks game or going to a Calgary Flames game or something.
Exactly. Yeah, it is. Same atmosphere. All the local city people all band together and cheer for the boys in red, and it's a pretty awesome event, I'd say.
Do they play out of that weird stadium that's like a big it's like a big greenhouse?
No, they do not. I'm not too sure what team actually plays in a stadium like that, but because of the earthquakes in 2011 here in Christchurch, the Crusaders kind of have a smaller kind of stadium now. It's not even really a stadium, it's just 4 sets of big stands. So, yeah.
Nice. Do you follow rugby? Do you remember, like, 2 years ago when the Lions did the tour of New Zealand?
Yeah. Yeah, I remember that.
Because then they went around and they played a bunch of these club teams, or a bunch of these Super Rugby teams.
Yeah. They went through all the New Zealand Super Rugby teams.
That was probably the best sporting event I ever watched. They played like 10 games, and they play all the professional teams, and then they played the All Blacks 3 times.
Yeah.
And totally controversial, total bullcrap call. The All Blacks should have won the third game. They were tied 1 game each, and the last game was tied. And the Lions took a penalty.
Yeah.
Do you remember this? And then they kind of totally...
Yes.
The referee totally botched the call.
Yeah.
I kind of cheer for the Lions, actually. I'm sure you'd probably cheer for the All Blacks, especially being there now.
Yeah, they bend my arm here to cheer for the All Blacks, that's for sure.
Yeah, do you got an All Blacks jersey yet?
Yes, I do.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah, except the sleeves were too tight, so I turned it into a tank top,
oh.
Unfortunately.
No,
Yeah.
That's blasphemy, be cutting that thing up.
Yeah, I know.
Nice, so good host parents. So do you guys order in food, or how do they...
Nah, Joy, the lady I live with, or Joy, Derek's wife, she does all the cooking, pretty much. She's just like a mom, I guess, for me. But yeah, just cooks up for me and, looks after me, keeps me well fed. And, yeah.
So when you go out, have you actually been to a grocery store or anything like that yourself in the last month or two?
Yeah, I go to the grocery store here and there to buy some things if I'm like out of shampoo or toothpaste or beer. The grocery stores here sell a lot of liquor. I guess they kind of have their own little spot for liquor. So yeah, that's cool. And also drinking age here is 18, so I'm actually able to buy alcohol. So
Aren't
that's
you?
Sweet.
Yeah, I thought you were. Oh yeah, I guess not, eh?
Yeah,
That's
I'm
funny.
not 19 yet.
Ah,
Yeah,
so that
I've
beer
been
I
19
bought you, I
before,
kind of
so,
can't
yeah.
really talk about that out loud too much.
Yeah, but yeah. So I've been out a few times. Went to the grocery store this one evening and saw All Black Joe Moody, but they're buying groceries. So yeah.
Did you up
Pretty
and
cool.
say hi?
Nah, I got nervous. He was a big dude, and everyone was wearing masks and everything. And I think him and I were the only 2 people in that whole grocery store that weren't wearing masks. So thought I'd keep my social distance from him.
Yeah, or just yell from the other side, Moody, we love you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're my hero.
Now, obviously everybody knows it's crazy about rugby. You would notice the player because you're a big rugby fan. Do you think the players can walk around town without getting pestered too much? Or would it be like Pavel Bure walking around Vancouver?
Honestly, I don't think so. I think everyone seems to be really kind of just like calm. Like, there's ex All Black Ryan Crotty who just lives down the street from me. The people I live with and everyone around know him and think he's a great guy and are all buddies with or get along with him. So no, I don't think many people honestly would just be going crazy if an All Black was walking down the street. There was not too long ago, my host parents' son, he was out with his kids and he saw Richie McCaw, and his kids were actually playing with Richie McCaw's kids. And, they didn't freak out and take pictures with him. They just kind of sat and had a chat with him. And, yeah.
It's a lot more fun when it's civilized like that. I mean, you get these football players in Seattle or whatever, Russell Wilson, they can't even go outside or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice, man. So, what do you got on the page today? You gonna get it back out there and hit the grind, or did you do that already?
I already did that today. It's kind of I don't think it's like around 4:30 now, around that time here. So yeah, kind of just relaxing for the rest of the day and you know, eating food, putting on the trying to put on the pounds and try to stay fit.
Yeah, there's been a couple guys that have gone down from Kamloops. I'm sure. Did you talk to Wyatt or anything before you went down? Because he had gone.
Yeah.
And played there.
Yeah, I talked to Wyatt. His was a bit more of like a program or exchange program, I guess. This was literally just like by chance. Met the president of the club and he asked me to come play. So yeah, but yeah, he said it was a good experience and kind of he gave me an idea of what I was going to expect. So yeah, it's good.
Right, and so the president of the club, you're living in his house now. We talked about this earlier, but you're from Sun Peaks and you met him at Sun Peaks somehow or something, eh?
Yeah, so I was working at canoe tours in Sun Peaks and
so summertime.
It was summertime. And so our canoe tours, all the people that go on our canoe tours are on bus tours throughout the country. So yeah, I took a group out and noticed that one of them was wearing an All Blacks top, so I just made some small talk about rugby and whatever. And then by the end of the night, he basically just told me, "Hey, come play for my club. Like I'm the president of this club. You should come play, and we'll house you and everything. We'll look after you." So I was really lucky to have this opportunity.
And you actually moved right into his house. That's where you're sitting right now, hey?
Yeah, that's where I am right now.
Dude, I heard do you have a girlfriend back in Canada or not?
Nah. I refrained from getting a girlfriend because of this trip.
I was going to say, I've had a couple friends that have gone to New Zealand and the girls just love the Canadian accent.
Oh, yeah. There have been a few cases of that.
But no dates right now, man. Bummer.
No. Yeah, no. All the bars, all the clubs closed. Just sitting in my room, swiping on Tinder.
God damn.
Yeah.
So, Sun Peaks, you did canoe tours in the summer. Is it just all foreigners that come, like Rocky Mountain Railroad tourists kind of thing?
Yeah, kind of, yeah. They're just all people majority of them are either from New Zealand, Australia, or England. You have the odd group that are from the States or whatever, but most of them are from those Commonwealth kind of countries.
Right.
Yeah.
Where do you take them in the canoes? Up to that really nice clear lake?
We take them through a lake up in Sun Peaks called McGilvery Lake. It is really clear water. But yeah, there's like a cabin out there made by the resort, I believe, that's been there for a while, and just kind of tell them about the history of Sun Peaks and the whole theme of it. It's put on by the Voyageur Bistro restaurant.
Yeah.
So we feed them dinner out at the lake and everything, and tell them history about the voyageurs and the history of Canada, and yeah.
That's pretty awesome. I don't know the geography of New Zealand too much, but you're on the northern tip of the South Island, hey?
Somewhat, yeah. That's more like Wellington. I'm more on the east coast of the South Island.
Right.
In Christchurch.
Right.
Yeah, so we're right on the east coast, and therefore there's lots of boats and whatnot going by, a lot of shipment coming in, so.
And of course, we already talked about that, your job on the docks and stuff.
Yeah.
So what do you operate, one of those cranes that takes the big boxes off the boat?
Nah. You kind of have to be more qualified for that. I'm just like pretty much just doing lashing, securing boxes, lifting heavy bars, and yeah.
And so that's right at some port or something, I guess, eh?
Yeah, that's Littleton Port, which is a little town right in a bay, I guess. I don't know what the bay is called, but it's inside of a bay.
And it's just massive boats that come in?
Yeah, it's just all big shipping boats that come from, I don't even know where, honestly.
Probably China
Come
or
from
America
everywhere.
or something.
Yeah, all over the place.
Because they would have to ship in everything. I mean, there's no other way to really get stuff there.
Yeah, exactly. So it's actually the biggest shipping port on the whole South Island.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Have you got to see much of the countryside, or you've been pretty much isolated into this one little area?
Nah. When I first came here, we did lots of touring around. I got to went to a town called Akaroa, which is another bay town. It's about an hour outside of Christchurch. It's a really pretty nice town. Nice beach and lots of ferries go in and out of there, and yeah, it's a pretty cool town. Then I've just kind of been cruising around the mountainside and whatever around Christchurch and checking everything out, I guess. Yeah.
Do you have like a bike that you can ride, or do you run around down to the beach or anything like that?
Yeah, I've got just got a mountain bike that I've been taking to and from the local park. They have a nice big kind of nature reserve, I guess, for people to mountain bike through and stuff. So I get out a lot, and yeah, try to do as much riding as possible. Keep fit.
Wicked, and it's not too crazy hot right now?
Nah, it's pretty perfect weather, honestly. It's not too hot, not too cold. It's just kind of sitting in that sweet spot of around like 20 degrees.
Yeah, probably pretty close to what it was here today, actually. It's so windy here, man.
Oh, yeah.
And so you were there probably a month before everything hit the fan, hey?
Yeah, I was here for pretty much a month before we went into big lockdown, and it all kind of became an issue. So, yeah, hopefully it gets better soon, and we can get back going with rugby, and yeah.
Nice, man. Well, I'm glad you stayed, and I'm glad you're still going to soak it up. And it's probably tough.
Yeah.
I mean, not the ideal circumstance, but I mean, nobody's in ideal circumstance right now.
Yeah, exactly. It's trying times, so just gotta push through it and hope for the best, I guess.
Yeah, you just got to live it up, do what you can, and I mean, hey, everybody's in it together. The whole world's doing this thing, so it's hopefully. Is there any word, like, is it coming to any sort of end, or do you? So, if you're going to ask me about what it's like in Canada, I don't really know because I have turned off social media. I don't watch the news or anything because this stuff has been rotting my brain, right?
Okay, yeah. Yeah, here it's for sure getting better. The Prime Minister here, Jacinda Ardern, has done a really good job of kind of shutting out this whole virus and getting it all under control just before it could have turned really, really ugly. So we were getting lots of cases at one point, but she put us all in lockdown right away, and that seemed to have helped drastically. And we're only having like 4 or 5 cases a day now, and in the whole country. And yeah, we're leaving level 4 lockdown tomorrow, and yeah, so people will be able to expand their bubbles that they're living in, and yeah, hopefully we're rolling in the right direction to kind of getting normal life back up and going.
So they're going like from level 4 knockdown to level 3 knockdown or something? Lockdown?
Yeah, we're in level 4 right now, and then tomorrow we're going to level 3. So that means just kind of a little bit more freedom, but still urging people to keep their social distance and, yeah, just being smart about it, I guess.
Yeah, of course. Of course. All right, man. Well, thanks for doing this again. I mean, it's kind of bummer that I blew that first take, but c'est la vie, you know?
Yeah, it's all good.
And now you're a regular, and we'll have you on as much as we can, I guess.
All right, for sure.
You'll have to kind of just be our reporter. You'll be the JJ's Garage reporter from down under.
Yeah, sure. Love to.
All right, dude. Well, stay safe out there, and thanks for joining me.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.
All right, take care.
All right, bye. Bye.
All right, thanks, Charlie. Let's give Connor a call. Call Connor Whitelaw.
Calling Connor Whitelaw.
Hey man, what's up?
Connor, how's it going?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
I'm good. Your name is still misspelled with one N in my phone. And
At least it's not an ER, hopefully, at the end, which would drive me more up the wall, but...
CONOR, which just, now that you've hassled me a bunch of times, I kind of notice.
Yeah, I mean, it could be worse. It could be CONER, and it would be like Coner. But, yeah, I appreciate that. Maybe one day you'll change it.
Yeah, Jack. Okay, nah, you know what? I probably won't. I'll wait till I get a new phone.
Yeah.
Until I change it. So before we get... Okay, so this week we got 2 movies, like we have been. National Treasure on Disney Plus and Evolution on Netflix.
Yeah.
We'll get to that in a minute. We were just talking before we went on air. Kim Jong-un.
Yeah, that was a little surprising. It was like Thursday that kind of came out, hey?
I remember, like, just briefly, so I'm not on Facebook and stuff, right? I'm trying really hard to stay off any sort of bullcrap social media.
Yeah.
Still do Snapchat and Facebook Messenger and do, like, group chats and stuff. So I'm not on Facebook, not on a lot of this new stuff because of, bullshit coronavirus that I'm just tired of hearing about.
Yeah.
And so I didn't really hear... I saw something in passing on my parents' TV, and then today somebody said, hey, it looks like Kim Jong-un's dead.
Yeah, so there is definitely conflicting information that I've seen about that today. It sounds like he went in for routine heart surgery.
Oh.
And the doctor or surgeon performing it on him was so nervous that his hands were shaking throughout the surgery.
Yeah.
And so he kind of may have botched it. And so Kim Jong-un was being like, allegedly, in a vegetative state or dead. But South Korean news networks have reported that he's alive. So I don't know, like, who's going to kind of be right on this one,
He's almost got to go out of country to...
Or make a public appearance.
I mean, go out of country to do the surgery. Like, because
yeah.
I don't really know how it is, does anybody, but they look at that guy like a god, right? The citizens look at him like he's not just another human being, he's a supreme being.
Yeah, he's like divine, right? So
you bring in the best doctor, and he still is nervous working on him. But if you bring him to some famous surgeon in Los Angeles who's doing surgery on all these famous people, he probably wouldn't even care.
But is that doctor going to do anything? I mean, he's opening himself up to go out of country to be assassinated by someone else, right?
Right. I wonder if he even leaves country ever.
Oh, I would highly doubt it. I mean, he'd probably be arrested by the world powers for all the human rights violations that are going on there.
I might just be sounding like an idiot even talking about North Korean politics, but do they not have any allies? Like, they can't go to Russia or they can't go to China? They got to have okay ties with China, you'd think.
I don't know. I really don't know that much about the Korean Peninsula. I think China's more involved with South Korea being like a democratic country than it is with North Korea. I mean, North Korea is probably tied to... I think they're kind of on their own, right? They might be coordinating with someone like Iran or these very obscure kind of
nuclear
military.
power weird ones. Yeah, who knows if he even is dead? And I did do a quick Google search, and one guy is saying he's dead for sure, and one guy's saying,
yeah, I think the like top reporting news that was saying he was dead was Beijing, like cable news or something. I don't know. And then South Korea is reporting he's alive. So it's kind of, like I said, who do you trust more in this situation?
because he's like a fat guy that gets whatever North Korean
Yeah.
woman that he wants, probably.
Yep, fat,
And-
eats probably unhealthy food.
Doesn't exercise because who's going to hold him to an exercise regime, and smokes cigarettes. So,
Yes.
kind of no wonder his heart's given out on him.
Yeah, and it looks like his sister might be next in line if he does die, but
I was going to
how
say,
is
don't
that
they
gonna
just
go?
put another fat, ugly person in charge when they die?
Well, it's only if they're in this family.
Right, yeah.
So I don't know. Sister's supposed to be next in line, but like, is that going to go over well in a military dictatorship that's kind of run by men for the last 70, 80 years? If he dies,
To
who
have a
knows?
girl?
Yeah.
Maybe she'll actually be like compassionate and care about the citizens.
Oh, wouldn't that be something, hey?
That would be a refreshing change. You've obviously seen The Interview.
Yeah, I have.
It's one of my
Pretty
favorite
good.
movies. I love it.
Yeah, same with and it's not the same person, but South Park guys when they did Team America World Police,
Yeah,
and they have the Kim Jong-il puppet
yeah.
the whole time. Great, just excellent caricature of him.
Team America World Police. That was funny too.
Yeah, I love that movie.
And yeah, so who fucking who is it good if he's dead? Like, I'm kind of hoping he's dead, but he's just, his sister's gonna go in, nothing's gonna change.
Yeah, I mean, if he dies, he dies. I don't really give a shit, but it could destabilize that country, or it could, someone else worse could get in, which would be like unthinkable. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see how that plays out.
We're also spoon-fed that he's bad to his people, right? Like, we're kind of just
Well,
told
he is.
that. Well, that's what the media would have you believe, Connor.
That's just fact. Like people that escape from South Korea, South Korea, are on average much smaller because they're malnourished. They don't get like any food. Their roadways are crumbling apart, and they're like have media blackouts and power outages frequently because they have no infrastructure.
Yeah, I guess that is.
and no freedom.
Yeah, I guess that's what they'd have you believe anyway, right?
Yeah, I mean,
I can't really
Rodman seems to be fine
defend.
with
I was
it.
going to say Dennis Rodman likes it. I can't
That
really
guy doesn't
defend North Korea.
like anyone can. Really.
I can sit here and try to defend it, but I don't know. Also, before we get to these movies, some NFL news. Let's go Gronk to Buccaneers.
Okay. It was pretty unexpected. Kind of out of nowhere on like Wednesday, but
I could kind of see it coming. Like, if somebody told me that was going to happen, I'd go, yeah, you know what, it might.
Is he going to have to relinquish his WWE belt?
He has a WWE belt?
He's a WWE heavyweight champ right now.
Gronkowski is?
Yeah.
Awesome. I wonder how good
Yeah.
his matches are, even.
I don't know. I think he's only done a few. I'm not really a wrestle person, so I couldn't tell you if he was entertaining, but
I used to watch it a lot.
he's a big WWE fanatic, you and Dylan.
No, more so me and Nathan, my older brother. I guess my little brother probably a little bit, but it was on TV, and we used to have a VCR, so I would tape them and watch them again. And my buddy Shane had like illegitimate satellite. You actually had these little satellite cards that you would plug into this. He had a satellite dish and the satellite receiver, but you have these cards that kind of break it.
Okay.
And so we watched SummerSlam and WrestleMania at my uncle's friend Shane's house.
Nice. Yeah, I was like, I don't know, the 2K wrestling games are always fun because you just do anything in those, but I've never gotten into the, like, whole sport, if you can call it a sport.
Was huge into Hulk Hogan. Huge. Had a life-size cutout in my room a lot of growing up. Had loved Sable. There was somebody's girlfriend or wife or something of one of the superstars was Sable, I want to say. Does that ring a bell?
I have no idea. I know I don't know, The Rock, Triple H, Stone Cold.
Stone Cold, obviously huge fan. Yeah. My email address is still jjrules316.
My dad worked with Stone Cold on a movie, so he's a great dude.
I've heard he's a good dude too. What movie did your dad work on him with?
Fuck. I mean, look, it was a Steven Seagal one, so it's Stone Cold and Steven are prison guards or something, and they gotta contain all the inmates in this prison. Let me see, Stone Cold movie. It used to be on Netflix, actually.
When your dad's in these movies can you recognize that it's him and not Steven Seagal?
Yes.
Because he's your dad and you've seen the back of his head 100 million times?
Yeah, pretty much.
And is that all also, it is the back of his head, or is he's running down the street?
Sometimes it's him down the street, sometimes it's him driving a car. Sometimes it's like him actually doing the fight. Let me see. Oh, it's Maximum Conviction. That's what it's called.
Never fucking heard of it.
Yeah, it's a bad one. I've probably watched about 20 minutes of it. Steven in the classic Steven attire of bandana and puffy gray black jacket. But my dad said Stone Cold's a really great dude. Like, just super down to earth and willing to talk to anyone on set. Was telling him about like wrestling stuff, and he's not a big actually doesn't really drink beer that much.
I've heard that too. Yeah.
Believe it or not. Yeah, he's a vodka guy. Because, I mean, when you gotta drink 6 beers every WrestleMania and slam them down your throat and then fight, you gotta get old after a while.
I've said forever he just spills it all down his body anyway. He's not actually...
Yeah. It's 2 former Black Ops operatives are required to transfer 2 female convicts to prison. While on their way, unknown assailants attack them. That is a synopsis of the movie.
Sounds bad.
It's 4.8 out of 10 on IMDb.
But that's cool that your dad's in it then.
Yeah.
Surprised you don't watch. Your dad doesn't like make you sit down and watch all these movies when you were a kid?
I've seen a couple of them. But, you know, there's just like real shit action movies, right?
Yeah, in this National Treasure that we'll get to talking about in a minute, there's a couple where Nicolas Cage is hanging off a van, like swinging around.
Yeah.
You can clearly tell that it's
stunt double.
It's not even close.
Yeah.
And I like Wet Hot American Summer made fun of that, where they have a guy that, you know, doesn't even look anything like the actor kind of do the stunts, or Family Guy's done it and stuff.
Yeah, I know. It's just it comes at like some low budget movies do get the most out of their effects and stunt department and their cinematography, and then there's a lot that are just awful. And these ones are particularly awful because Steven is just too lazy to even like give a shit. So he's not going to do any of the action. So they got to like show him waving his hands around, and then they cut to his face, and it's the stunt guy doing all the shit, and then they just cut to his face making an expression.
You brought me on this not to wave my arms around.
Yeah. So it's pretty hilarious, like the jump cuts they got to do, and like I feel bad for the directors having to deal with that crap all the time, and his like drama. But you know, they're getting paid a decent amount of money.
There's probably some of those actors, I would imagine, and I mean, you hear stories that some are just terrible to work with.
Yeah, I heard Bruce Willis is like that.
Like, you just think you're so great, I guess. They are put under some hard conditions. Like, they work 16-hour days that are away from their families for a long time and stuff. But
the compensation for like a few weeks of work is like, it's insane. It's more money than people make in a lifetime. Like, you should be pretty grateful that you can make upwards of $500,000 over a 2-week span.
Yeah, for the first few years you'd be grateful, but that would wear off pretty quick, and now you're just fucking... Now your bitch wife, you're on your third wife, they've each taken you for half your money, and...
Well, maybe you should just be a better person.
yeah, I guess. So once again, hard to argue in favor of money-making celebrities. I've always wanted to be an actor.
Yeah, it'd be awesome. I mean, you look at all these other people that like seem like genuinely great individuals, like Tom Hanks, and Chris Hemsworth seems like a really great guy.
Yeah, we've talked about the guy from Jurassic Park, the new guy.
Chris Pratt.
Chris Pratt.
Tom Holland seems like a genuinely awesome person. Same with like
those guys all seem awesome.
Sir Ian McKellen.
You think he's actually good?
I think he'd be a nice guy to meet. I mean.
And then I've heard stories about people like Ellen DeGeneres, who her talk show makes it look like she's the nicest person in the world, right? Like, she finds people that are down and out and helps them out, and she's smiling and stuff. And I know a guy that kind of has worked on the set, and I think they were even talking about it on Joe Rogan or something else. You're not allowed to look at her. If you're working on the set, you're not allowed to look at her. She's just... This is all hearsay. Nobody really knows, right? But apparently she's just an ice queen.
Really?
But they obviously make it look like she's the friendliest, most awesome person ever.
Yeah. I like being elite. And you compare that with like someone who's Adam Sandler, who is allegedly, again, one of the nicest people in Hollywood, like hires all his friends to do movies with him, doesn't give a shit how bad the movie is. Just as long as his friends and people get paid and he has a good time.
Yeah.
Like, there's that, I don't know if you've ever seen that story where, like, some kid at, like, one of his movie premieres was there, and he handed him a t-shirt from his high school. He took it, and, like, a couple weeks later, at, like, another event, he was just wearing the t-shirt.
Oh, sweet.
That the kid handed him. Yeah, so it's just, it goes to show you, like, not everyone's in it just for money and just to be a dick.
And he doesn't do a lot of... he's been on Conan and stuff recently, but other than that, he doesn't do a lot of interviews, Adam Sandler.
No.
And he doesn't do a lot of stuff, so at least he's just doing what he wants to do.
Yeah, whether it's good or bad.
And I know he gets a lot of flack for making bad movies. I like them all. I watch them all. Love Daddy's Boy. I loved Uncut Gems. That was
really good.
Out recently. Loved that. Loved... probably fell a little short with...
Grown Ups 2, terrible.
Grown Ups 2 was good!
Terrible.
I liked Grown Ups 2.
I don't think he's made a good comedy since, like, The Longest Yard.
What was I thinking? That was just... where he plays his own twin sister.
Oh, that's
Jack and Jill.
Oh.
I think I just passed over that one. I didn't actually watch it.
Good for you. You missed one of the worst movies of the entire century so far, according to most people.
Yeah, maybe we'll have to review that. Okay, so anyway, NFL, back on Gronk to Buccaneers. That's pretty awesome. Buccaneers making a super team. Do you see them being that good, or what do you even think they're going to do?
Well, arguably they play in the second hardest division in the NFL.
Yeah.
I still think the Saints are the best team in that division.
You don't think the Saints are falling off with Thumb Boy?
I don't. No, I think this is their last good shot.
Yeah.
I think the Bucs will be good. I think the Bucs will make the playoffs at like 10-6.
As the third wild card or something.
Yeah, second or third. But Atlanta's no slouch, right? As much as Atlanta hasn't really gotten up off the mat since they lost that Super Bowl.
They got a good quarterback. They got a good receiver. They got a good running back.
Yeah, their O-line's pretty good. Their defense has been so banged up lately. It's hard to say they're a bad team. Their coaching hasn't been phenomenal, but
and Julio Jones could have a breakout year. He was kind of hurt, or I don't know. I had him on my fantasy team, and was he hurt half of last year, or did he just suck?
No, he had a good season last year. The year before that, he only had 2 touchdowns the entire season, just in throwing the ball.
Yikes, this is his year. And then, of course, you watch the NFL draft.
Yep.
We
Loved
actually
it.
kind of face chatted for a little bit of it.
Yeah. I was pretty happy with Miami's draft. It was kind of, after Tua getting picked, it was very like, safe draft picks, building up the front seven, like building up the O-line, which is all things they needed considering they were atrocious up front last year.
Yeah, I have to kind of concede knowledge of the draft to you because I knew maybe 5 or 10 of the players. Like, once it gets into second round, I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, I was pretty happy. Like, Miami's first 2 picks, great. Like, Tua, I think, should be a good player. The tackle that they took, I'm hopeful he kind of continues to develop. And then they trade from 26 down to 30 with the Packers. And I'm thinking, all right, well, we got no running back. They got the best safeties on the board still. They could take another O-lineman. They could do this, they could do that. And I sent you the video, I think, on Snapchat of...
Oh, yeah, you're like
reaction
shaking
to-
your head in frustration?
Yeah. 30th pick rolls in. They take some DB from Auburn who wasn't projected to go until like the 3rd round, possibly. And
Maybe that's why they traded down, is because they're like, well, we can take him whenever we want, but our next pick is going to be this DB.
but why not take him in the 2nd round? He's still going to be there. You're picking 39. That's 9 picks later. He's still going to be there.
Well, they obviously must have thought he wasn't going to be there, I guess.
Apparently. But they took this guy. They already have the 2 top paid corners in football on their roster. So why are you getting a 3rd corner for? I mean, hopefully that he pans out. Like, I'm not knocking him, but Jesus Christ, they could have taken a safety. Got no one back there. They could have taken a running back. They averaged 2.3 yards a carry last year. Ryan Fitzpatrick was the leading rusher at 273 yards. Like, fuck.
Yeah, if you have an old white guy quarterback that leads your team in rushing, that can't be good.
They could have taken a linebacker. Could have taken a D tackle. Like, I don't know. I didn't think it was a good move to take that kid, but, good for him for being a 1st-round pick. And he seems to fit the scheme that they play a lot. They play a lot of, like, press man, and he's played mostly press man. So,
yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, there were some interesting picks. Like, I ended up winning our we had like a draft contest of like fill out your 1st round and highest score wins, and I won that.
Nice.
Which was great.
Yeah.
But yeah, you only watched a little bit of it, hey?
I watched a little bit of it, then I went frisbee golfing, and my buddy had his ticker on the phone as we were frisbee golfing.
Okay.
And he was kind of just saying, because I left watching it before Tua was even picked. So I was like, oh man, I want to see who Dolphins are taking. And then they took Tua. So that's basically huge quarterback out of Alabama. And then after that, I mean, Joe Burrow went 1. So other than that, I was kind of...
There were some surprises.
Jalen Hurts went...
to Philly, yeah, one of your teams.
I'm going to be honest, I think that Jalen Hurts sucks. But
yeah, I'm not really a big fan.
But we'll have
He's a very good college player, but yeah. One thing I don't like, you didn't watch it as much as I did, but like watching the first 2 rounds, basically, it seemed about 50% of the players had a dead parent of some sort, and it was just mind blowing.
Like one of their moms or dads was actually dead.
One of their literally dead. Where they're like their sibling. It was just like pick after pick after pick, just someone in their family died. And I'm not poo-pooing anyone's tragedy, because it's awful to lose a parent, I'd imagine. But like, holy shit, how did this like happen? Where 50% of your draft has the same or similar story.
Well, I guess it's just one of those things where it takes so much dedication and stuff to make it to the NFL that a parent diving might give you the motivation and dedication to push you over the hump or something, I guess.
I guess, but I mean, you wouldn't. But like the statistics on it are crazy. Like one draft pick loses. They're out in a boat. The kid falls in. The dad jumps in to save him. Saves the son, but the dad drowns. And then, less than a couple years later,
enter black people not being able to swim very well joke.
Less than 2 years later, his little brother's playing Little League baseball and gets struck by lightning and killed.
The same
Like,
guy?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Like, holy fuck. Like, how does that happen? And then there's another one. His dad they were doing something on the front lawn or whatever, in their front yard. He slips on gravel and stumbles into oncoming traffic and is killed by a car.
Oh, you watch that happen to your parents?
Yeah, it's like how the fuck does like all this happen to just NFL draft players?
Yeah.
And there were other ones. Those are the two ones that stuck out in my mind of just like wild stuff. Jordan Love, his dad, like they said committed suicide after he got his heart medication changed because it just like changed up his biorhythms for like a few weeks and then he killed himself. It's like, what the fuck? Like, where, like, I don't get it. Literally, I was mind blown the whole time watching it.
Yeah, that is a wild. Poor guys. Well, at least they can take care of their mums or their dads or whoever's left now. So
yeah,
silver lining. And
yeah, so that's good.
Yeah, and I think that basically wraps up NFL news. I mean, couple signings. Buccaneers are going to be awesome.
Ooh, Bucks.
And still kind of, what's his name? D lineman for Seahawks.
Yeah, Clowney's still out there.
Yeah.
It doesn't sound like he's going back to them though.
Yeah, that's kind of what it's leaning towards, hey. And he was actually one of my favorite players last year.
Maybe he'll go to Miami.
I hope not.
Why? He fits their scheme. They need pass rushers. They tried to trade for him. He said no.
I'm only cheering for one team in Florida this year, and that's Tampa. There, Connor.
Well,
I only got room for one bandwagon Florida team.
I hope the Buccaneers let you down.
Well, they probably will.
Yeah, Tom, not terrific this year.
Who knows? He's old as dirt, man. Like,
yep. Bruce Arians' offense likes to sling it down the field too. So
Brady can sling it, man. He's got a cannon.
No, he's got a good arm. I'm just saying, like, I heard Bruce Arians' offense is very complex, and has a lot of like route adjustments and stuff. And I'm sure he'll be able to do it. But I think there could be a big growing period.
Is there any chance Antonio Brown goes there?
No. Bruce Arians already said no.
Fuck you, Bruce Arians.
He coached him in Pittsburgh. He knows he's a bit of a prick, so.
Well, I like him too.
Yeah, I liked Antonio Brown until he decided to become bigger than the team and became an absolute asshole to everyone that's ever worked for him.
Yeah, you know what? He looked very personable and down to earth in that Hard Knocks, because they followed the Oakland Raiders around at the beginning of last year when he was still playing for them. And he's smiling, signing, like he goes to the high school, he's signing everything for the kids, and just, I don't know, he seemed awesome. And then they're just like, oh yeah, he says he's going to retire because he doesn't want to wear this helmet. It's like, what?
And then he, doesn't pay people who do artwork for him and puts his dick on their shoulder and, has a domestic disturbance with his fiance or whatever. It's just like the whole cycle of like his life and him using people just like spiraled out of control.
Yeah.
He illegally wiretaps John Gruden.
For that little video he put out?
Yeah.
Why don't you just play football, man? I like that little video too.
Yeah. And he's just lying through his teeth the whole time, Antonio. It's just like, shut up. Like, all I had to do was shut his mouth for like 5 days, and they would have given him like $28 million. Instead, he just couldn't shut up.
And then, if you've seen some of the emails he sent, basically illiterate.
Yeah. Just nonsense, man.
Just riddled with, I guess it's an email or a text message, so you don't have to have perfect spelling or perfect punctuation, but this was
should at least be legible.
This was like, what am I don't even get what he's saying here.
Yeah.
So
Fuck him.
Yeah,
He may have squandered his whole career, so.
I like him, and I wish he would have stayed at Patriots. And I feel
Actually,
bad for
stayed at
Julian
Pittsburgh.
Edelman staying in New England.
Yeah, whatever.
That
He's getting
Edelman
paid.
show on Crave. Yeah, I think it's Crave is pretty good actually.
I've never
100%
even
the
heard of it.
Julian Edelman story.
I don't know if I could watch that. He seems like a bit of a douche.
He's not bad.
Okay.
He's not bad. It kind of shows him as because he was a quarterback his whole life,
Yeah.
really, and shows him just making plays at quarterback, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, I don't know. Looking forward to the draft again next year when Miami hits a bunch more picks. So that'll be
Yeah.
great.
Yeah. All right, buddy. Well, let's jump into these couple movies.
Yeah. Which one do you want to start with?
Well, National Treasure, Disney Plus, Evolution, Netflix. Let's start with Evolution because I think we'll probably have a little
Okay.
bit less to say about it.
Yeah. I hadn't seen this in years.
I had never seen it until you mentioned it, and then I start watching. I was like, I wonder if this is even the movie Connor was talking about.
And
It's-
what'd you think?
It's the one with David Duchovny, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so at least we got the right movie.
Yeah.
I thought it was okay, and it was kind of funny. It was actually pretty funny, but I almost
Yeah.
wonder, and this is hard to admit, did some of the comedy go over my head? Like, am I just not smart enough or witty enough to get the comedy, or was it just kind of dry or whatever?
No, I just think the jokes were bad. Like, I think there were too many, like, maybe they were funnier, 15, 20 years ago when it came out, but there's bad jokes. Like, there are too many, like, creepy old man sex jokes in that entire movie that it made it like, ugh, why are you talking about that?
Yeah, Sean William Scott plays that character Wayne. Sean William Scott Stifler from, better known as
Pie.
Stifler from American Pie
Yeah.
movies. He's the same character and everything. I mean, just kind of the
Yeah.
stupid.
Frat boy, kind of.
Yeah,
I like him though. Like, I don't hate him, but that's why he doesn't act anymore, really, because he's not really in-depth actor.
right.
Oh, he's Goon. He's good in Goon. the
He is
hockey
good in
movie.
Goon. Yeah, I'll agree. He is good in Goon. Julianne Moore plays like the main government girl, Allison
Yeah.
or whatever.
She works for the CDC.
Yeah, and I just watched The Big Lebowski, and she was, and I
Yeah,
think you
she's
see her
great.
boobs in that.
Yeah, she's really good in like everything.
Yeah, she's a wicked good. She's a good actress. I like her a lot, actually.
Yeah. And then you have David Duchovny, who's Ira something, the main character.
Yeah,
Ex-military, USAMRID guy. And he's being shamed for trying to inoculate patients and gave them like some really bad sickness. Now he's working for $17,000 a year in a crappy JUCO in Arizona.
yeah, some sort of
And-
community college or something.
Why the hell are you teaching people for $17,000 a year?
And he's basically giving everybody A's.
Yeah. Does not give an absolute fuck. And then there's the other guy.
The other professor,
Yeah, the black guy. I don't even remember what his character's name was.
Harry.
Harry, yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Orlando Jones, which he's
Yeah.
in a couple other movies, but he's not necessarily a big name actor. He wasn't.
No.
He wasn't too bad, I guess.
no. And then they have there's a bunch of little side characters, but two that come back into the fold near the end of the movie are those like two giant fat brothers, one of
Yeah.
which is Ethan Suplee.
Is that the guy?
Remember the Titans?
Yeah, and you know what? I just saw this thing on Snapchat. It's kind of his story. He's jacked now.
Yeah, he lost a bunch of weight.
So he was like 500 pounds fat.
Yeah, he would probably be dead if he didn't start losing weight, hey?
Yeah, and so now there's this thing on Snapchat, and he's in the gym getting jacked. So that's pretty sweet.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess the plot of this movie is like a meteor hits down in this town, or just outside this town, and has some sort of extraterrestrial life on it, and it slowly evolves to create like pandemonium in the area. And the whole goal is to try to stop it, I guess.
Yeah, well, they find these little cells. He's like, "Look, man, I found these single cell organisms," and then they look at it under a microscope a few hours later, the next morning, and it's like advanced life, and then it turns into like fish life, and then they're
worms and all sorts of stuff.
So they evolve super, super quickly, like million years in an hour, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
To dragons.
That was interesting twist on it. So one of my notes here is that meteor is massive, and it should have like absolutely like decimated that area when it hit the ground, scientifically speaking. And it like fucking shoots Sean William Scott's car so far in the air and smashes it down to the ground.
And he still drives it?
Yeah, he still drives it. Like, I don't even know if you could smash a Hot Wheel that bad and it would go anywhere, let alone an actual car.
Hey, I recognize this car, and they pull up beside it, and it's a smashed up
doors
car.
It looks like it's gone through like a compactor.
Yeah.
Yeah. One of the other bits I really liked is David Duchovny kind of goes, he steals those little samples from the site or whatever, and they goes to his office and he's talking with Harry, and he's watching him under the microscope as they like expand and split and evolve. And then he runs into the gym during Harry's the volleyball coach, and runs in during middle of his game, talks to him as the team's playing, and then Harry just dips on his entire team. Just leaves them mid-game. He's the head coach.
The winningest head coach in Arizona Community College girls volleyball history.
Yeah, just fucks right off to go look at a science experiment.
Yeah, the dynamic between Duchovny and that guy Orlando Jones, it's pretty good. I mean, they're funny and they do have funny bits, but for some reason I'm just like, it wasn't quite hitting home with me. I was just like, is this, should I be laughing harder?
Yeah, it was kind of, and it was written by this. I think it was written and directed by the same guy who did Ghostbusters.
Okay.
And then it kind of was like a Ghostbusters Men in Black mixture,
Yeah, I can see that.
And I'm not like, the first Men in Black movie is really good, but the other ones are all bad. The first Ghostbusters is really good, and the other ones are bad. So I don't know. It's just, I remember it as a kid being not bad as this movie. However, I don't know. It wasn't terrible. It was definitely watchable. Like you said, just something didn't quite grasp you as much as like it probably wanted to.
Yeah, and then some of these aliens. So at the end, the aliens are kind of evolving. They're getting around in the city. Somebody's out golfing, and one of the aliens gets into the watershed of the golf course, into one of the ponds, and it eats a guy and stuff. So these aliens are out there evolving quickly.
I did like that aspect of it. They kind of like gradually creep into the town, like changing and whatever, kind of like causing subtle havoc in the town. But
so later in the movie, then they kind of decide, fire makes these things stronger, and the government bombs them with fire.
Yeah, they want to napalm it. They
make this super monster, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which they end up shooting shampoo up the super monster's butthole.
Let's be specific. Head and Shoulders shampoo, which may have been the most blatant plug for anything I've ever seen in a movie.
At the very end of the movie, they even make fun of it. They even even have like a little commercial for Head and Shoulders.
Yeah, it's like that was just like one of those things. Like you said it, like they shoot the Head and Shoulders mixture straight into its alien kind of spidery tentacle thing's butthole. Why? Like why is it its butthole?
Just so that they can make poop jokes, right?
Exactly. It's just one of the things. It's like, who is this targeted towards? Because clearly it's not like a movie that you would take your like 7-year-old too,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
So like they pull up on the underneath it, and the final action sequence is bad enough as it is. The CGI kind of is shit in this, and you know the CGI got worse as the monsters got bigger.
Yeah.
I found,
Yes.
but this big tentacle monster, they drive right underneath it, and they put the fire truck ladder straight up, and Harry's like, "Oh no!" And it farts in his face. Like, this thing doesn't do anything. It just farts in his face. And they fill it with shampoo and it explodes. And it's like, that wasn't even the first butt joke in the movie.
So they killed they killed a big mutated monster.
Yeah.
What about all the other hundreds of evolving monsters around? Like, okay, they killed one of the 1,000. Now we have 999 more monsters out there.
Yeah. And like the other major butt joke was they removed that mosquito from his asshole. It's like, I just like, oh, I don't know, man.
It's crawling up his leg, and he's like, it's going in his leg. We have to cut off his leg. No, not my leg. It's going straight for his testicles. Cut off the leg.
Yeah, it kind of like looks like it's under his skin, kind of like in The Mummy, and then all of a sudden it's like, let's just pull it out of his butthole. How did it get in there?
And then he's walking around like he just took a big stick in the butt.
Yeah.
I guess that is kind of funny.
I did like how the like they made the meteor site look like weird and gross and like very like slimy and disgusting in the first couple times I went there. And with like practical effects, like they built the site.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't know, probably 2/3 of the way through the movie, they kind of after they remove the mosquito from his butthole, they go back to the university and they get out of the Jeep, and Duchovny like hops out of the Jeep and throws his hat towards the trash can and it just fucking nails the shot. How many times do you think they threw that hat to make it work?
I was gonna say that too. I noticed that where he hucks that thing into that garbage can and nails it. I was hoping that he just did it first try, or like the plan was for him to miss, but then they did it first try. So like, well, we're keeping that cut. Yeah. And then Julianne Moore's always falling over too. She's always dropping stuff and falling over, which is
kind of a character trait.
Out of the nowhere bit. It doesn't play. I was like, oh, this is gonna play into the ending somehow. How clumsy she is. And it just, nothing.
Yeah. Yeah. And then one of the other weird bits is they go to that woman gets her finger bitten off by that weird, like, blob monster or whatever.
Yeah.
In her house. And they go there. And Sean William Scott, like, sprints around the back of the house for some reason. And he's like, guys, you gotta see it's outside. And, like, over the edge, there's, like, 50 dead dragons sitting there that are, the size of a fucking horse. How did no one notice those?
Yeah, he's
crawling around for a little bit.
And they must have been all flying.
Or something, yeah, like, I don't know. And then the one kind of pukes up the egg sac in, like, the major action sequence. And, like, has, like, an oxygen-breathing one. And it flies to the mall. And kidnaps the shoplifter. And boy, did she look bad when she was getting dragged around by that thing. That was some terrible CGI.
Yeah, that was probably the main action scene, was that mall scene. They have the guns. Yeah, I don't know. Kind of stupid.
Yeah, overall, give it like a 6.5 out of 10.
That's 1.5 more than you gave Die Hard.
I was more entertained with this movie.
I hate you.
So, I kind of vaguely remember this having a cartoon spin-off.
Oh.
And there is one. I just Googled it. Alienators, Evolution Continues.
Oh, I never heard of that.
Yeah. And it was just of that age of like where they did like random stuff like that. Like, how Men in Black had a cartoon and like all that sort of stuff. But yeah, it looks like they befriend a little alien or something that evolves from it. I don't know.
Of course.
I may have watched it once or twice.
Yeah, of course. That's got to be what happens.
Like Godzilla had one of those too, eh?
I don't remember the Godzilla.
The Godzilla one was good. I had the video
Godzilla
game
spin-off
tie-in.
cartoon?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember that at all. I remember like an Aladdin spin-off cartoon.
Yeah, all those ones are on Disney Plus now.
That
Like
Aladdin
Aladdin,
spin-off cartoon?
Hercules, like the
Those
Adventures
have
of
got to
Timon
be
and Pumbaa.
bad.
I've watched a little bit of Hercules. It's not that bad, but definitely not watchable as an adult. The Emperor's New School, if you're an Emperor's New Groove fan out there.
Right. Yeah, not a fan of either of those. But yeah, they do
But
a
yeah.
lot of those.
Yeah, I can definitely see why this didn't get a sequel. But if you're looking for something to do in like a movie to maybe put on in the background or like a light watch if you're bored,
Yeah, it's
I would
not
say
that bad.
it's worth it. Like if you're kind of like into Men in Black and that sort of stuff, like I would say it's comparable to Men in Black 2. I don't know.
Have you ever seen Boogie Nights?
Yes.
That's just Julianne Moore reminds me of that movie. So fucking good. Boogie
Yeah,
Nights.
it was a good movie.
I had only watched it for the first time a year ago. And I was like, how
That's
have I
almost-
never heard... Some guys on the rugby team were talking about it. Like, dude, you got to watch Boogie Nights. And these are the same assholes that are recommending the dumbest shit, right? And I'm like, I'm not watching any of these dumbass movies. So then I finally did. I was like, okay, I will watch Boogie Nights. And loved it.
Yeah, it was really
So
good.
good.
Mark Wahlberg does a good job.
Yeah, Mark Wahlberg. He's another one of those nice actors. We were talking about nice actors and jerk actors. Apparently, he's really nice.
Really, see, I could see him being a jerk, but I'm glad to hear he's nice.
Yeah, this is just some people at a golf course. When I was working at Sun Rivers, there was stories of he came the year before. I don't know, were they shooting something in Kamloops, I guess? I don't know.
He was there for Shooter, I think, one time, maybe.
Maybe that's what it was, but was that about 7 to 8 years ago?
Yeah, I remember it being like when I was in like elementary school, early high school, kind of.
Okay, so it might be about that. And then he 10 years ago, I guess. And then he went and played golf at Sun Rivers, and all the bag boys and the cart delivery people and stuff all helped him with his bags. And then he
Nice.
left, and then his assistant was supposed to tip them, so he stops the car. He's like, "Hey, did my assistant tip you guys?" And they're like, no, or anything. So he gets out of the limo and he pulls out a wad of hundreds and gives everybody that helped him out $100 bill,
That's awesome.
which is
Yeah,
friggin'
I've heard.
wicked.
I heard Dave Grohl's kind of like that too. For the Foo Fighters,
Yeah.
like I think there's a story where he like was at this hotel for 3 days, and the first night he went down for like a couple of drinks and just went down to the hotel bar and gave the waitress like $1,000 tip.
Wow.
And she was like, I think you made a mistake. And I called the room, and he's like, nope, you need the money. I don't. The next night, same waitress again, gave her like $1,500 tip.
That's what I would do if I was...
Because it's like the amount of, like, for him, that's not a lot of money, right? Like,
No, if
He'll be
he's
able
on
to pay
tour,
that
they
off.
might give him $1,000 a night
per
living
diem
out
or-
allowance or whatever. Just
Yeah,
cash.
so I mean, just like that makes someone's year possibly, or like month, getting $1,500 on like one tip. It'd be crazy.
I would totally do that. Like if I was super rich, super celebrity actor or athlete, and I went down to Central or Commodore, one of the nightclubs in town or something, I would drinks on me, party on me, tipping huge. I think that would just feel good. That would be a good way to spend your money.
Yeah, once in a while, it definitely would. People would take advantage of you for sure.
Yeah, but that's why don't be doing it for the people that are taking advantage of you. Do it for when you go to the bar and you just want... Think of how vibing everybody would be inside the bar if you just bought everybody 2 drinks or
Around.
something. Yeah, everybody
Yeah.
around, yeah. And we'll all do 2 shots and then I got everybody's round. Woo! That would just lift the whole vibe in whatever bar you're in.
That's very true.
And you just party like a rock. And it would cost you $1,000 or something, which, oh my god, like me right now couldn't even think of spending $1,000 on a bunch of hosers at the club. But if you're rich, it would be awesome. It'd be so wicked.
Definitely. Yeah.
Okay, I think that kind of sums it up for Evolution.
Yeah, that's kind of you'd be beating a dead horse at this point.
Yeah, although you're giving it 6.5, which kind of, come on, man.
That's 65%. I feel like that's a pretty fair mark for a sci-fi.
Yeah. Okay, moving on. National Treasure, Disney Plus. So I'll just kind of we'll just kind of wing it, but I'll throw down a general plot.
Yep.
Nicolas Cage plays Benjamin Franklin Gates or something like that,
Yep.
right?
Yep, it's exactly his name.
And he comes from a long line, like his I think the movie opens up where his grandpa's like a treasure hunter, and he kind of shows that he sneaks into his grandpa's attic and finds some treasures, and his grandpa's like, here, I guess I'll tell you the story. And his dad stomps in, and he's like, you can't be telling him this stupid bullcrap.
Yeah, and so in that scene, he's like his grandfather's like Christopher Plummer, who's like ancient, right? The guy's like 90 something now.
Yeah.
And then his dad comes in, who's played by John Voight.
Yeah.
Who, and then I'm like, oh, maybe they'll have like, I wonder who's his dad. I can't remember his dad is in this movie or whatever. And they show it's John Voight, and they are literally like the same fucking age, like. And so I was like, why did they pick John Voight and just put him in like a shitty wig to make him seem old, young? So I looked it up, and I've done the math. So this is how old they were in 2003 when this movie was shot.
Yeah.
John Voight, who plays his dad, was 66 years old.
Yeah.
In that flash in the movie.
Yeah.
Christopher Plummer, who plays his grandfather, his dad's father, was 75.
12 years older or something?
No, 9.
Oh.
Like not even able to even like have a child. 11 years apart. Less than 10 years apart. Like, why don't you just pick some fucking guy that like?
Well, they obviously
like
cast him for the later scenes or the later years, I guess. Once.
Because Plummer's not even in the fucking movie after that. He's
Yeah,
in it for
exactly.
10 seconds.
Once Nicholas, yeah, they could have done an older guy for him or something, but
Yeah.
or made John Voight look younger, give him some makeup or something, but he just walks in with, like you said, a stupid wig, and he looks 100 years old.
Or just have him stand in the fucking door frame in the shadow, being like, Benjamin, get out of here, let's get out of here, we're leaving. And just have his voice, so you don't even see him.
Yeah.
Oh, so we're already off to a good start.
Yeah, and so Nick Cage kind of flashes, I think it just goes right into the next scene. Nicolas Cage is out with his team of treasure hunters, and
In the Arctic.
Yeah, and they find this long lost ship that they figure they're fine. They have metal detectors find it, and then one of his crew kind of turns on him.
Yeah, so I have one of my first note here is this entire movie relies on coincidences and flukes.
Yes,
for the most part.
Yeah, it for sure does.
And that the Illuminati did it. Because they're all about the all-seeing eye and shit.
Yeah, the
And
Freemasons or whatever.
Yeah. And so, like, they're driving in that tundra buggy or whatever across the Arctic Circle. And they come up to this, they go on this boat, and I'm like, it's like second in command or whatever, looks familiar. It's Sean Bean, so I have before he even like
He's
gets
the bad
out
guy
of the
from
car,
GoldenEye, right?
Yeah, so I'm like 100% Sean Bean dies and is evil. And then I have in brackets, this is the first 5 minutes of the movie, in brackets at the end, wow, he didn't die. So spoiler, he doesn't die at the end, he just gets arrested. Which is like gotta be a first for Sean Bean.
I was gonna say, he's gotta be a bad guy, totally.
Yeah, he's British. You know the British are bad.
Evil British backstabbing bad guy. So it's kind of checks out all the boxes. I will say I liked it. I had never seen this movie. I did like it.
Interesting. Like I don't know. It was just it was boring. I thought it was boring. I probably saw it once. I hadn't seen it since it probably came out. And some of it was interesting, but a lot of it was just boring.
Yeah.
The action sequences were boring. The dialogue was okay. It was like shitty Indiana Jones, like the shittiest version of Indiana Jones.
Right, and they just kind of get left a clue.
They kind of just go from
yeah, go for it.
They just go from one East Coast metropolitan city to another. There's no real big action set pieces, I would say, in an adventure movie, right? Like there's that one, after he steals the Declaration of Independence. So the whole thing is there's a map on the back of the Declaration of Independence that has the clues to a treasure that the Freemasons have taken from ancient Egypt all the way through and were buried in America. Because and the reason that Nicolas Cage has the clue is because his great-great-great-grandfather at 1830-something was given the last clue by the last surviving member that signed the Declaration of Independence because Andrew Jackson, the president, wasn't at home to accept the clue.
Right.
So his family's been looking for this treasure for generations that has spanned eons of wealth. And so the Declaration of Independence has the map to get to the treasure.
Which is kind of why his dad, John Voight, hates it, is because my dad ruined his time with this, you're ruining your time with it.
Yeah.
Whatever. But he does get on these clues, he is Nicolas Cage's character, Ben, kind of does start ripping through these challenges and finding stuff and...
Yeah, so like the first clue is like the clue that his like family has had for generations is like the name of a ship. That's where they're in the Arctic. Yeah. And where Sean Bean betrays them.
Yeah, and they find it, and then the bad guy betrays them.
So it's like the first clue that he finds is a fucking like pipe. And he pulls the end of the pipe off. And I wrote, wow, he just ruined that priceless artifact. And lo and behold, it's a theme throughout the entire movie. Nicolas Cage, who supposedly loves history and American history, just ruins every single artifact and document he finds.
Yeah.
That is hundreds of years old.
So Sean Bean's character has to steal the Declaration of Independence. Nicolas Cage refuses to, and so then they try and kill Nicolas Cage. He's like, "Okay, well, I guess I have to steal the Declaration of Independence before the bad guy steals the Declaration of Independence."
Yeah. So Sean Bean betrays them in the Arctic, and kind of holds them up at gunpoint. And he's like, "All right, well, thanks for the clues." It's just like, "What's the rest of it?" And then they leave. And Nicolas Cage's plan, and this room is filled with gunpowder they've somehow decided to pour on the ground, is he pulls a flare out of fucking midair, lights it, and throws it at Sean Bean, who catches it. And then instead of stomping on it, he lets it burn in his hand and drop it. And the ship explodes. And Nicolas Cage, out of nowhere, it stomps on the floor of the ship and knows there's a trap door there. Like, what? And him and his little nerdy friend just go into the trap door and survive this massive explosion. And in true villain fashion, Sean Bean doesn't go back to see that they're dead.
Yeah, and then fast forward later, now they're trying to get the Declaration of Independence.
Yep.
And they both kind of have the same plan, I guess. But Nicolas Cage's plan, they shoot the laser at the Declaration, which sets off the temperature warnings.
Yeah. So then I don't even think lasers work that way, first of all.
Yeah, I don't...
Are they able to heat things up? I really don't think so.
And so they take the Declaration and move it into a work on the Declaration room.
Yeah.
And that's where Sean Bean's character, Ian, comes in to steal it. How did he know it was going to be in the...
Right, exactly.
In that room.
Unless they have the same thoughts. And slightly before this, so Nicolas Cage and his comrade, I don't even know what his name is, have tried to warn the FBI, and the FBI has laughed him out of the room.
Riley, his young apprentice.
Yeah, and then they go to the museum where the Declaration is held, because, you'd tell the museum, I guess. And they are all dressed up in suits.
Yeah.
To tell the museum curator. And Nicolas Cage, his fucking shirt collar underneath his suit jacket is like wingtipped out to the side. No one is going to take you seriously when you look like that. This is not 1981.
Showing off that chest hair, bro.
And then the woman, who is like clearly not from America, she's an accent. His fucking buddy goes. Nicolas Cage is like admiring her collection of George Washington suit buttons, which is pretty dope. And he goes, "You're not from America. Why would you help us?" It's like, why are you so rude to this woman? She's doing her job. Like, it's like, you're not from America. Who? Like, why would we trust you?
Who was later just Nick Cage's love interest.
Yeah, who forcibly kissed her, like, out of nowhere.
When they're all dirty, crawling through the dirt underneath
like
a tomb.
Forces a kiss on her. Ian's henchman goes, "Why doesn't it ever happen to me?" Because you're not a weird creep who fucking forcibly kisses women.
Yes, that Scottish guy or whatever is like, wait, how come? Yeah, he sees him kiss the hooker. He's like, why doesn't this happen to me? Why doesn't what? Why don't any of the women you kidnap kiss you?
Yeah, because you don't have the wig and charisma of Nicolas Cage. That's why.
Yeah, which Nicolas Cage, I mean, he's won Best Actor, I guess, before, so I can't shit on him too much, but
he's
got to be
he starts to go that big downturn. Hey, like
he's just somebody rich's nephew, like, or something. He's like Francis Ford Coppola's nephew or something.
Yeah.
And that's how he got in movies.
Yeah, and like I like a couple of his movies. Like, have you seen the movie Con Air or The Rock?
Yeah,
those are great Nicolas Cage movies.
Yeah,
good action movies. Even he's in something else in the early 2000s that I remember being good. But he's
The Weatherman.
Oh yeah, Lord of War. That's a good one. He's
Lord
in.
of War. I would say The Weatherman's my favorite Nicolas Cage movie. Like an actual movie where I would actually say I really like this movie.
I haven't seen that movie.
Really? I strongly recommend it to you and anybody listening.
Ghost Rider. Again, shortly after this one. Not very good. Nicolas Cage in it. But
that was filmed in Kamloops, right?
I think part of it was. I'm not really sure.
Ghost Rider or Wicker Man?
Here. Oh, that's a bad movie.
Wicker Man, I think, was the one that shot here. Or maybe both of them were or something.
But yeah, he's like a massive Superman fan, hey? Like, his son's name is Kal-El. He was supposed to be Superman in, like, the Superman Flyby, I think was what it was called.
Yeah.
Like, they cast him as Superman. There's, like, footage of him in the suit, and it just, like, sounds like it was an awful mess of a movie that never got made. Did you see him as Superman? Ever?
Probably not.
Yeah.
The guy they have Superman right now, Henry
Cavill,
is awesome.
Yeah, he's amazing. I love him as Superman. I just hope we get some more good movies with him in them.
Yeah, as much as I shit on all the DC movies, Man of Steel was awesome.
It's probably my favorite one still. I really like Aquaman. I really like Wonder Woman. Shazam was
You really
sweet.
liked Aquaman, hey?
Yeah.
Okay.
Liked it a lot. But yeah, to circle back to this, Nicolas Cage, just his character, I don't know how he even, like, gets with this woman at all. Like, she's, like, instantly attracted to him because she knows about her button collection.
Yeah, and he gives her the buttons, then she kind of warms her heart, and then he kind of flirts with her at the gala.
Yeah, shows up at the gala, and the first thing he says, he gives her a drink to steal her fingerprint, and goes, and she's like tailed by this like random guy who seems to be with her at that time. I don't know.
Yeah, looks like her date or something.
Yeah, and Nicolas Cage goes, yeah, if we were all here in 1775, we would all be hanged, beheaded, gutted, and our entrails burned for mass treason. And he just like shouts it. It's like, okay, yeah, way to go, buddy. Like, that's the small talk you want to impress a lady you might like.
Yeah, I always forget to put these little links on the bottom, but this time I'm going to actually write it down. Link in the bottom. Bottom. Nick Cage freak out. There's like a good 2 or 3 minute YouTube video of compilation of Nick Cage just freaking out.
The bees!
Yes, exactly. You
Have
guys
you?
are bitches. Yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and look in the link for that one.
Yeah. Have you ever heard the Christian Bale freak out from Terminator Salvation?
I have, because somebody's fucking with the lights in the background.
Yeah.
And he's in character, right?
Yeah. That's a good
And
one. I haven't heard
definitely
that
a
one in
bad
while.
look on Christian Bale, but like I said, maybe it's the 20th day in a row and it's the 16th hour of the 20th day and you're
Yeah,
fucking...
they've done this take 30 times and
you're
that's-
just deep into character, you haven't whatever, like feeling like shit, just really into character, and some guy's fucking with the lights in the background.
Yeah,
So I try to understand what they're getting at, but definitely a very bad look on Christian Bale.
for sure. For sure.
I'm
But
not
worth-
working on
worth
another
the-
movie that you're working on. That's it.
Yeah. Worth the audio listen. Hey. Sorry, my cat's trying to climb the window screen. Fucking hate that.
Yeah.
So yeah, they at this party they steal the Declaration of Independence shortly before Ian and his crew get in there to take it down, and Nicolas Cage escapes with two because he goes through the gift shop and buys one for $35 on his Visa.
Yeah.
And then there's arguably the worst car chase in movie history.
And this is what I
After that-
said when they show him hanging off the side of the van, and he's clearly
Hey.
not him.
Yeah, and it's the girl and Nicolas Cage, and they're chasing a food truck in like a, GMC like kind of catering van, I guess, in a way, this way to describe it. And it's slow and boring, and there's like no tension. And then the girl's hanging out of the window, and like a bus or like off the door in Nicolas Cage's car is like kind of coming up beside them to try to like get her and pull her into their van. And there's a bus coming towards them. And this is not the first time this happens in this movie, where a massive truck or something just doesn't stop. Like if you were driving and you saw someone coming towards you in the same lane, your instinct would be to honk your horn, and if they're not slowing down, you just stop.
Yeah.
You wouldn't just fucking keep plowing straight ahead. Especially if you saw someone hanging out of the fucking window of the car.
Yeah.
So like shit like that just bothers me. It's like there's no thought put into any of these action sequences outside of the like, okay, what are our main actors doing? Hey, yeah, I don't know. Just like that kind of shit bothers me because she almost gets plowed over later in the movie when she drops the poster in the middle of the road.
Right. And then, like you said, with everything being chance and coincidence, what's the chance that he goes in to shoplift that fake Declaration of Independence from the gift shop, life-size poster or whatever, and then he just so happens to have that when she comes and catches him, and just so happens to hand it to the bad guy. And there's a lot of just so happen and lucky they did that kind of parts, right?
Yeah. And then like they kind of like escape, like Ian's crew goes a different way, and then they go a different way and they're driving through DC to like figure out a plan what to do next.
Yeah.
And it decides to, and I found this really like jarring and annoying, is it cuts back and forth between Harvey Keitel, who is now introduced as the FBI operative of this investigation, at the museum talking about what they did, which we just saw, versus like their conversation in the car about what they're going to do now and like how they could get caught and where they're going to go.
Right, and
it
it's
was
kind
like
of the
10 seconds
dynamic
here, 10
of...
seconds here, 10 seconds here, 10 seconds here. And it's just fucking, like, why would you do that? Why don't you just shoot one scene and then go back to the other one, you know?
Right, because I guess they're trying to play on... Because it's almost, they found this next clue and they're finding the next clue and they're going, but now the bad guy, Sean Bean's character, is one step behind, and then so is that FBI guy's one step behind, so they're all like in a race to find the next clue, I guess.
Yeah, so then they decide to go to Nicolas Cage's dad's house because he has some letters from Benjamin Franklin, and then
to decipher the map. On the back.
Decipher the map on the back.
Yeah.
And then they get some coordinates for some like puzzle in the letters that Benjamin Franklin wrote. And so they head to Philadelphia. And Sean Bean has beaten them there with none of the same clues or map. He just knows, we got to go to the Franklin Institute next.
Yeah, how did he know? How does he know that? Just like they don't tell you how he knows that?
No, they don't.
And then they go to Philadelphia, and here's the one that I kind of got, okay, this is stupid from. So they found out, they look on the bill, they see what time it is. It's 2:22, and then it just so happens to be 3 o'clock, but they're like, oh, back in the day they didn't have daylight savings time. So it's really 2 o'clock old people time. And so they make it up for 2:22 so that the sunlight can shine through this monument and point out exactly what brick needs to be removed that holds the next artifact that's a clue, right?
Uh-huh.
But anybody that knows anything about sundials or the rotation of the earth or anything, that would only work on one day. So at 2:22 on one day, say that day, or 2 days, I guess, because it would happen twice in a year. Say that day is March 4th. Well, March 3rd and March 5th, the shadow would be in a slightly different place.
Yeah.
You know
so if you're
saying?
3 or 4 days like away from the actual time, you've missed it, and now you're like looking at the wrong brick in the wrong place.
Exactly. So what's going on? And I guess maybe they could have found because it had the Freemason logo on the brick. But if they were a month or two out, the shadow wouldn't even be close.
Yeah, or if it was a cloudy day.
Yeah, exactly. Just so happens, like all in this movie, just so happens to be a nice sunny day in Philadelphia.
Yeah, and then so they get, so he goes and like carves out this brick, and Sean Bean's kind of hot in his tail. This is probably the third museum that they have made us to like break into in the middle of the day.
Minimal security.
Yeah, kind of like I've been to a fair share of museums. They're pretty fucking guarded if you're like walking into like locked doors or touching stuff in the wrong area. They're gonna be like, "What the hell are you doing?"
Yeah.
So again, that's like another like weird like, oh, no one saw them doing that stuff. And then Sean Bean's crew does the same thing. They're just magical. No one sees them.
Well, they're running around that one house thing. Where it's just like, how would they ever... Like, they're following a tour group, and then they just run up the stairs and start running around the building, and all the doors are unlocked, and they're getting into everywhere, and they go into the signing room, and it's like, this would just... You just walk into all these places?
Yeah, and so in that brick, so he, like, cuts out the brick and shakes out, and there's a pair of glasses.
Right.
And he takes them down to meet with their crew. So, like, the girl and his apprentice. And then they decide to, instead of finding a secure place to look at this thing, they just do it in the middle of the thing, in the middle of the museum where they know for a fact that the bad guys are after them.
Or security, or the police, or the FBI, or anybody that's after them. Yeah, don't run to an alley or into a secure room. Just pull this out right in the middle of this museum or whatever.
Yeah, and then so they meet up, and his buddy, it might have been his buddy, or Nicolas Cage, I can't remember who said it, but he goes, yeah, I found some kind of ocular device. They're fucking glasses, man. They're fucking glasses with little things on the front. Like,
hand me the spectacles, yeah.
Yeah, don't try to like smarten up what it is. They're shitty 3D glasses.
Yes.
And then...
And you use the glasses to like read the declaration or it shows a secret message on something, right?
Yeah, on the back of it, there's like a... I guess, yeah, like a...
Shows where the treasure is.
Yeah, here at the wall. It was spelled like kind of incorrectly.
Yeah, but
and
then...
he has to figure out what it is.
But
then
then
the bad guys come and they have like a chase.
Also, those bad guy chases... they're all stormtroopers. They probably take 50 or 60 shots at Nicolas Cage
He runs like a snail.
from point blank. He's like climbing up a ladder where you could give a 4-year-old child a gun who's never shot a gun before, who has only seen water pistol, could point and shoot the gun and easily kill Nicolas Cage. They have these highly trained bad guys emptying clips, missing them. And it's like, I've always hate that in movies where the shooters are worse than stormtroopers.
Same here.
And you kind of saw that. What was the movie we did last week? Oh yeah, Die Hard, where he has the minigun on the side of the helicopter, blasting Detective McClane, just blasting, and McClane like outruns the bullets, kind of thing. I've always hated that in movies. That's why I call it the stormtrooper shooting.
Yeah, just can't hit the broadside of a barn from a couple feet away.
Yeah, so Nicolas Cage should have he should have eaten 50 bullets probably.
Yeah, so they split up after that, and then Nicolas Cage gets captured by the FBI, and his buddies get captured by Ian.
Yeah.
And the FBI takes him in, and they wiretap his 2003 cell phone when it is not connected to any other wires in the entire place.
Right.
So I'm pretty sure they didn't really have the technology to remotely tap into phones back then.
And then they have him wired up on the pier, talking to the FBI, but to get him out, the bad guy, who little do we know at this point, the girl goes behind their back and makes an agreement saying, we'll give you the declaration if you can save Nicolas Cage.
Yeah.
So they have this device that can shoot down all the radio signals that the FBI are using, and then they throw him in the river.
Yeah, they throw him in the East River. And they decide to take him to New Jersey. They submarine him across the river. And then they drive back to New York? Like, they couldn't have just, stayed on the same side of the river and found another part of New York to get there with their scuba gear? So they waste, half a day driving the New Jersey Turnpike and all that shit just to get back to the same place you started in?
Well, they had to get away from the cops, right? So they had to scuba dive submarine 2 miles downriver.
Yeah, but couldn't you just scuba dive submarine 2 miles upriver to the same island? I'm just thinking out loud here, and so this is the part of the movie where I was like, oh man, how long has this been going on for? And I paused it to get a snack, and there was still 45 minutes left, and it felt like this movie had been going on for hours.
I know, it was long.
This was so long, and just drags its fucking feet for 45 minutes of nothingness.
Right. So they finally make it to the church where they have the treasures allegedly buried in.
Yeah.
And they pull out... And you see this in movies too, where they find a torch and they light it on fire and it just works perfectly, even though it's been sitting there for 200 years.
Yeah.
And he lights a bunch of stuff on fire with the torch that all works perfectly instead of blowing them up or killing them.
Yeah.
It just lights the room very nicely. There's a giant chandelier they light up. Everything else breaks, but the chandelier lights up perfectly.
And doesn't sway too much as they let it go back to the center of the thing.
Yeah.
So one of the lines that kind of stuck out to me, and as being I took a lot of American history in university. I'm not saying I'm an expert by any means, but one of the Ian's henchmen goes, probably the same guy who was wondering why he wasn't kissed by women. He goes, how did they build this? And because you get into that kind of big column structure with all the wooden floors or whatever in the pulley system. And Nicolas Cage goes,
close that door.
Same way they built the pyramids. He goes, same way they built the pyramids and the Great Wall of China. And his buddy goes, yeah, aliens. And it's like,
I like that.
No, they were
I
built-
like that kid. Yeah, because they're like, yeah, same way they build the pyramids, same
It's
way
like,
they
no.
do it. Yeah, the aliens helped them.
It's like, no, they were built by slaves, and you just didn't say it because, for no reason, I don't know why this movie decided to like brush over the way America was built for history
Yeah.
on the backs of slaves. Like, holy fuck! Like you had like one opportunity to like redeem it, but I guess you'd be throwing the founding fathers under the bus by calling them plantation owners, which some of them were.
Yeah.
Ugh. And then, so then there's like a small action sequence where some of the wooden bridges fall and break, and one guy falls a horrible CGI death to the bottom of this thing where they don't find him. Shockingly, at the base of it.
Oh yeah, because they go to the bottom. Shouldn't his body be down there?
Yeah. So do you watch American Dad at all?
Yes.
Or watch it? So there's like they do a spoof of this with like the Planters Peanut guy, and so like there's the spoof is like Steve gets on the pulley and it goes all the way to the bottom, and Stan falls through all those things and just gets up fine.
Oh yeah, no.
I would say that episode is more memorable than this entire movie.
You know what, man? I liked it more than Evolution.
Really? Oh.
You liked Evolution more,
good.
hey? See, I think it
Yes,
gets
I
a
did.
6 out of 5, and Evolution gets a 5.
Oh wow. So
But I don't do the
They-
out of 10 rating. That's your job.
that's my thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they all get to the bottom of this fucking shaft, and they find what is perceived to be the treasure room. And then Sean Bean goes, "Where the fuck's the treasure?" And John Boyd tricks him with some sort of lantern question, which is pretty smart at the time, and I thought it was actually a thing. And but instead of like, oh, no one's been down here in hundreds of years. It's pretty dusty. Let's brush off the walls and see like what's here. Maybe hold the torch up to anything to see if there's any sort of clues in here. Sean Bean just like gives up and like holds them hostage at gunpoint, and then believes the first thing they tell them and leaves.
Exactly. And then he's about
Like,
to
you
leave
should-
too, and they're like, "Don't leave. We got a secret to tell you," or something. It's like, why didn't you just let him leave and
Yeah.
figure out your own thing anyway?
Yeah, so like John Boyd sends him to Boston, and Sean Bean basically is like that's the last you see of him for the movie until the very end.
So
And it's like a very anticlimactic way to get rid of the villain.
yeah, and we're
at the
basically
climax of the
end
movie.
here. This is
Yeah,
basically
so-
because they do find the treasure.
Yeah, so it seems like all is lost. The treasure has been gone, and then they decide to brush off a wall, and there's the all-seeing eye on the wall that's on the dollar bill, and they put the pipe that they had found in the Arctic into the wall, and it's a key, and it opens the wall, and lo and behold, there's the treasure of the ages buried underneath New York. The whole time, they get out, they contact the FBI. Harvey Keitel is a Freemason the whole time, so he's known the treasure's been there the entire time as well. And Nicolas Cage turns down a portion of the treasure. He's like, I'll give him 10%. And he said no. I would have taken 10% of that. Well,
Who cares? It's treasure. Like, I guess it's supposed to show that he doesn't care about. He's not in it for the money. He's in it for the historic value, and he always
Well,
has
clearly
been, and
he
that's
hates
why he
history,
has
apparently.
success. Because it's
Yeah.
in his blood more than it is like a. It's in his blood, man. He's not in it for the money, I guess.
no. He's just in it to, like, uphold his family's reputation, because the Gates apparently are just lunatics in the history community.
Yeah, and he does
And then-
win his dad back over, which might be more important than any money.
Yeah. So then they go arrest Sean Bean. So instead of like dying in a massive shootout or his men being like gunned down in like an action sequence or something, the FBI just descends on them in a night in Boston when they try to break into a historical house, and they probably go to prison. The end. Of the villain of the movie.
Yeah, they probably should have killed him
Awful.
for sure.
Awful ending.
Yeah, it was
Like,
a pretty bad ending. I'll
This
give
movie
you
just
that.
then this movie just ends. Then they cut to the apprentice complaining that they didn't get enough money, and then they only each took 1% of all the wealth, and he still drives off in a Ferrari very poorly, and that's the end of the movie.
Because even the
we're
1% still made them mega rich.
Yeah, terrible, boring, terrible. Like, if you're trying to be new Indiana Jones, you didn't do it.
It kind of had an Indiana Jones feel to it, right? With the clues
did.
and the stuff and the...
But like the scope of the adventure wasn't big enough. You know,
Right.
like Indiana Jones doesn't. And I get like the treasure is different, and it's like a founding father's treasure or whatever.
In this one, they don't have to get off the I-95.
They circumnavigate the I-95.
They could just go
In a-
from
in a
Boston to
Cadillac.
New York to D.C. to Philadelphia. There we go.
Yeah. I mean, historically, yes, those are the places where like all of the like presidents and all those people that would have had the treasure would have been. But come on, like give us a Tennessee or a fucking like somewhere else, like maybe even Florida, like Virginia, like further down in Virginia, somewhere else.
Yeah.
It's just it just didn't work for me.
Now, was the Declaration of Independence in real life, is it just one piece of paper that they signed? Like they wouldn't have signed 2 or 3 of them?
Yeah, it was just one.
So that Declaration of Independence that's on display in D.C. or New York or wherever it is
I think it's
one of
it's
a
in
kind.
DC, yeah. Yep.
Interesting. How would you even sell that? If you did end up stealing it, how would you even sell it?
I don't even know. You would you have to get it like appraised or sell it to like black markets.
It would have to be to some black market super rich collector, but then that super rich collector could never put it on display or show his friends. He'd have to keep it in his own basement or something.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and then in
Yeah,
the treasure they find a bunch of the hidden books from the Tower of Babel that burned down or something.
Yeah, in Alexandria and I feel like those scrolls would be like useless. They'd probably fall apart in your hands. He gives it all to a museum because he's such a history fanatic.
Yeah, it just takes the 1%.
So- The end. So how did they get all that treasure out? Who excavated that site? Are there going to be tours there now? Like any historical thing, it seems.
Yeah, they probably give it over to the FBI or whatever, and then they...
Yep.
How does any treasure get out of the ground, really?
Yeah, I have a lot of questions for National Treasure 2 to be answered.
Have you
Probably
seen
never
National
watch
Treasure
it.
2?
Nope, probably worse. Probably more boring, believe it or not.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it has to deal with the. I read the synopsis. He has to clear his family name, and then the Mount Rushmore heads are there. So they probably go to South Dakota.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, maybe they go to North Dakota, which would be even more boring. So who knows? Just overall, I would give this like a 5 out of 10.
I would like to do like an American history tour. I've always wanted, I mean, me and you've talked about this lots before. I've always wanted to go to New York City. I think Philadelphia would be super cool. Boston would be super cool.
I heard
And then-
Boston's awesome.
What's that?
I heard Boston's awesome.
Yeah, me too. And I would have never thought that. And then, so I've heard lots about how awesome Boston is. So
I mean, I'd have to see a bunch of Patriots fans, unfortunately, but it's the way she goes.
yeah. And what, I don't know, a couple other American things would be neat.
I heard DC's pretty cool.
Yeah. I'm nerdy enough to enjoy that, to go to the Washington Monument and that big pool out front and actually enjoy it, and go to the Lincoln Memorial and actually be
Yeah,
like,
the
wow,
Vietnam
this is
Memorial's there,
awesome,
too.
right? The
Yeah,
what?
it'd be cool. I mean, the Vietnam Memorial's there and
Yeah.
a whole bunch of other stuff.
Yeah, all sorts of cool stuff, I'm sure.
I think the Holocaust Museum is in BC as well, which would be
Really?
like a tough one to walk through. But yeah,
Yeah, you'd probably, for your Holocaust experience, you'd probably want to go to Poland or something.
yeah, maybe I don't know if it's
My brother and dad
better.
did the Auschwitz Birkenau
Yeah,
over the winter here, and they said it's pretty intense feeling going in there.
yeah. I mean, I've been to Pearl Harbor, and it's no like as much as you're in a beautiful like state. It's not really some place that you're going to have like a grand old time and
What's
run
in
around
Pearl
at, like, a
Harbor
theme
that's
park.
super cool? Because they have the sunken boats and memorials and stuff.
Yeah, so they have.
Is that pretty
Um,
cool? Do they have like
they have
down
some-
Japanese
I went up to the-
planes?
I don't know about the planes, but they have like the USS Arizona Memorial. So you kind of like go out in a little boat out to the where Arizona sunk in the middle of the bay there,
Yeah.
and it's still like leaking oil, and like it's like you kind of walk over the memorial, which floats above the ship, so you can look into like the ship and all the flags from all the ships that were sunk
Yeah.
on the day and were attacked are in there. And then there's like the wall, and on the wall there's all the names of all the soldiers that were killed at Pearl Harbor.
Yikes.
And it's a very regimented because it's like still a naval base,
Yeah.
so you still have to like you have to go up there at one time. You have to line up when you get off the boat. You line up along the wall, and the other group leaves. And then once they're gone, you get to walk around for 15 minutes ish, and then you leave.
Is it still like you still enjoyed it though? Obviously, hey.
Yeah, it was a really cool experience to go out there.
Yeah,
And we were there.
I'd like to check that out for sure.
Yeah, when I was there, they had a veteran from the day on the attack who was out there, and you could kind of talk to him for a little bit. And it was
Oh, really?
really cool to talk to him and listen to his story and just like hear about what it was like first person.
Were you
firsthand
pretty
account.
old when you went to do this?
I was in grade 11.
Okay, yeah, so you were
just
pretty
over 10
old.
years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it was really cool. One thing that because it's basically like a graveyard memorial, right? So there's like anchors there and like videos and like stuff that you would look at and say like, holy shit, like this was like intense. Hawaii's like a massive destination for Japanese tourists because it's like it's the closest U.S. place with North American style shopping there. So a
Yeah.
lot of Japanese people go to Hawaii, and it's a beautiful country, so why not? And the one thing that I found, and it wasn't, maybe it was just the day that I was there or whatever, is I found the Japanese tourists that were with at the site that day were very disrespectful. Like there's like a big anchor from one of the ships that's pulled out of the water, and it sits on in like kind of the middle, and
They're climbing all over it.
they're climbing all over it. They're like taking pictures, smiling, and like all that sort of stuff. And it's like, this was a terrible sight and war, and like maybe you shouldn't do that. And so the worst part was we were leaving the Arizona site, so we're lined up along the way to like leave, and we're walking out on the line, and this Japanese tour group comes in next. And one of like the Japanese guys that's in the group, on the way into all the flags are like behind this like velvet rope, and they're kind of like draped on the flagpole. And so you're obviously not supposed to touch them because they're behind velvet rope. And this guy, I shit you not, leans over the rope and like pulls out the flag to look at it fully unfurled and puts it back. Goes to the next one. Does the same thing. And the fucking naval officer that was out there guarding the memorial like snapped.
Oh,
It
really?
was
You got mad at him at
wild.
least?
He was like, sir, put that the fuck down. like hand on the pistol and everything. Like I was like, holy shit, like I gotta get out of here. I just like you don't do stuff like that at a site like that. It's like all those people that take like weird Instagram shit at like Auschwitz Birkenau. Why it's just not the place for that.
I would imagine Auschwitz-Birkenau and some of these, they might tell you before, hey, just ease off on putting this on Facebook or whatever. Maybe don't
Or if
even
you
pull
do,
out
like,
your
be-
camera.
Mm-hmm. Or if you do, be tasteful about it. Like take a picture, but don't be like posing and smiling.
Like selfie with the peace sign.
Yeah, like don't do that. Just yeah, it's just a bad look.
Selfie with the filter that gives you bunny ears.
Yeah.
Hashtag
like the
Auschwitz.
Yeah.
Yeah, it might be that.
Hashtag
Might be
tired.
Yeah, exactly. You would not believe what I went through to get to this place.
Well, it certainly wasn't as bad as a month-long train ride where you're starving to death.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Ugh,
At least you get to leave.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No kidding.
At least you ate
Oh,
today.
yeah. Holy shit.
All right, man. Well, we're kind of burning the midnight oil here. So next week, we're gonna dive into it. Might be a terrible idea. Might be 2 hour plus movie. Battlefield Earth. So
How long? I want to see the run. What's the run time on this?
That's John Travolta, Scientology. I think it's an L. Ron Hubbard, the king of Scientology, wrote a science fiction book.
That's 2.5 out of 10, 3% Rotten Tomatoes, 9% Metacritic.
Well, those reviews don't count, man. It's mine and your review that the people are waiting for. So we'll give you an on. Which I think this movie cost a lot of money and then made nothing. Like they just.
It had a $73 million budget and grossed $29.7 million.
Exactly. So John Travolta, he's trying to push the. I could be wrong, but he could be pushing the Scientology agenda with this movie somehow, I guess.
100% is. Yeah, 100% is.
Or it's in L. Ron's kind of.
It's based on the novel by L. Ron Hubbard, who's the founder of Scientology.
Right, so it's kind of in his honor, maybe, or something even, but whatever.
It's going to be 2 hours of shit.
And then at least we got our other good movie that we're going to watch, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
Which
that'll be good.
So Battlefield Earth is on Netflix. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse is on Crave.
Cool.
So I think you have Crave anyway.
I do. I have them all. Again, if anyone has like suggestions, you can throw them in the comments or.
Yeah, if anybody suggests any movie ever, we'll probably just do it because nobody's really suggested a movie.
As long as it's not fucked, but.
I watched The Platform on Netflix. You ever heard of it?
Oh, yeah? It's like a horror movie, right?
Yeah. Now that I've seen it, I guess horror is probably an accurate description.
Or is it one of those, like, torture porn ones? Kind of like...
It is kind of torture porn more than...
Saw and, like, Hostel.
Yeah, it's kind of like that. But I had no idea. I went into it totally fresh. I read a list on Netflix saying... Or on The Chive saying what was... a good movie or something, and they listed 10 movies on Netflix, and I had seen them all but that one. So I was like, okay, I'll throw it on.
And good, bad, verdict?
Good and bad. It was good. It was good, but I can't say something's good and then like not recommend it. But this I would almost say is good, but don't watch it. Almost, it's not for everyone. I mean, like a girl shits on a guy's face in it, and like they stab people in the neck. It's like, dude, it's like people eat each other's intestines. Like it's really fucked up like that. Where.
Ugh.
When I was a kid, I was never squeamish or whatever, but now if I see something where somebody breaks their arm on a YouTube video or Tosh.0 or something, I like look away. Like I get squeamish and can't watch that stuff anymore.
Yeah.
So I'm getting kind of soft in my older age. Whereas before, I could watch people break their legs and get their legs cut off and eat intestines all day long.
Yeah, I could not. Yeah, no, I've never been like a huge like gore fan in that regard, but that's just me.
Yeah, I like a little bit. I like blood and swearing and a little bit of gore, but
yeah, like I don't know. It's like it's like a fine line. Like I like the like you have like Quentin Tarantino gore, which is like over stylized and like Kill Bill and like
I like some of those
blood
ones.
spraying everywhere.
Yeah, I like that.
But it's not like that gross like
slow sinking a
someone
knife
sawing
into
off
somebody's
their-
chest.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just for this gore for the sake of gore. It just doesn't seem to have a purpose, but
Yeah. Okay, buddy. Well, we'll leave it at that. I'll let you run, and we'll get those 2 movies. And I guess next weekend, making it a weekend kind of thing that we're doing.
yep. So, all right, have a good week, man.
Yeah,
Enjoy.
You two have a good week, and we'll crush these movies out, and we'll get them going next weekend.
Sounds good, man.
All right.
Talk to you later.
Thanks for stopping by, dude.
Yep.
Later.